The Shroud of Turin is among the most enigmatic and revered artifacts in Christian history, captivating scholars, scientists, theologians, and believers worldwide. Its intricate details and the ongoing debate over its authenticity offer a deep well of intrigue. Measuring around 4.4 by 1.1 meters, the Shroud of Turin is a long piece of linen cloth that bears the faint image of a man's front and back, who appears to have suffered a violent death. The image is a negative imprint, with the darker areas on the shroud corresponding to lighter areas on a photographic negative and vice versa. This man is depicted with features consistent with crucifixion wounds, such as marks on the wrists and feet, a side wound, scourge marks across the back, and a crown of thorns. Notably, the image is not painted on the surface, but seems ingrained in the very fibers of the cloth, a characteristic that has baffled scientists and researchers for decades. The earliest stages of the Shroud of Turin's history are not well documented, leading to a rich tapestry of tradition and speculation regarding its origins. According to Christian tradition, the shroud is believed to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ, purportedly wrapped around his body after crucifixion and before his resurrection. However, there are no historical records of the shroud's existence prior to the medieval period, and its early history is thus largely inferred, or based on religious texts and subsequent traditions. The first reliable historical account of the shroud appears in the 14th century. In the 1350s, it was in the possession of Geoffrey de Charny, a French knight who displayed it in a church in Lirey, France. The origins of how de Charny acquired the shroud are unclear, and various theories have been proposed, ranging from acquisition during the Crusades to receiving it as a gift or through purchase. From its earliest appearances, the shroud was a subject of both veneration and skepticism. In 1389, the Bishop of Troyes, Pierre d'Arcy, wrote to Pope Clement VII, claiming the shroud was a forgery and that the artist had confessed. Despite this, the shroud continued to be revered by many as a holy relic. The Pope declared that the shroud could be shown, provided it was declared to be a representation of Christ's burial cloth and not the actual cloth. Over the centuries, the shroud passed through various hands, including members of the House of Savoy, who became its owners in the 15th century. It was moved to various locations, including Chambéry, where it suffered damage from a fire in 1532. Repairs were made, including sewing patches onto the damaged areas and backing the shroud with a supporting cloth. In 1578, the shroud was moved to Turin, Italy, by the Duke of Savoy, and it has remained there ever since. It is currently housed in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. Over the years, it has been displayed to the public on rare occasions, drawing large crowds of pilgrims and the curious. The shroud has been subjected to a plethora of scientific tests aimed at unraveling its mysteries. One of the most significant moments in the scientific examination of the shroud was in 1988, when radiocarbon dating tests performed by laboratories in Oxford, Zurich, and Arizona independently dated a sample of the shroud to the Middle Ages, between 1260 and 1390. This finding suggested the shroud was not the burial cloth of Jesus, but rather a medieval forgery. However, this conclusion has not gone unchallenged. Critics have argued that the sample might have been contaminated or taken from a section of the shroud that was repaired in the Middle Ages, hence not representative of the entire cloth. Further scientific explorations have looked into the possibility of chemical reactions, bacterial action, or unknown forms of energy creation as explanations for the image's formation. The Shroud of Turin has been the subject of numerous theories aiming to explain its origins, the nature of its images, and its authenticity. These theories can be broadly categorized into three groups: those suggesting the shroud is the genuine burial cloth of Jesus, those proposing it is a medieval artifact created by human hands, and those exploring natural or chemical processes that might have produced its images. Each theory attempts to address the intricate details and complexities observed in the shroud, from the precise replication of crucifixion wounds to the unique qualities of the image itself. One of the primary theories among believers in the shroud's authenticity is that the image was formed miraculously at the moment of Jesus' resurrection. Advocates of this theory argue that the image was created by a burst of divine energy or radiation, which left a detailed imprint of Christ's body on the cloth. This theory often cites the shroud's detailed negative image and the precise correspondence of the wounds to those described in the New Testament as evidence of its supernatural origin. Some researchers have proposed that the image on the shroud was created through a natural chemical reaction known as the Maillard reaction, which occurs between amino acids and reducing sugars. According to this theory, Gases released by the decomposition of a body wrapped in the cloth could have reacted with the surface of the shroud to produce the distinctive image. This hypothesis attempts to bridge the gap between the supernatural formation theories and those seeking a natural explanation. Skeptics of the shroud's authenticity often argue that it is a medieval creation, crafted by an artist or forger of the time. The radiocarbon dating of the shroud to the 14th century supports this view. Proponents suggest techniques such as bas-relief, painting, or an early form of photography could have been employed to create the image, citing the artistic skill and motivation to produce religious relics in the medieval period. Building on the idea of a medieval origin, some theorists have suggested that the shroud could be the result of an early form of photography or a chemical process known to medieval scholars. This theory points to the negative image on the shroud as indicative of a photographic process, although critics argue that the necessary knowledge and materials for such a process would not have been available in the Middle Ages. Another theory posits that the image was created through a process called vaporgraphy, where vapors from a decomposing body interact with substances on the cloth. This theory seeks to explain the shroud's image without invoking divine intervention or medieval forgery, focusing instead on natural processes that could occur in a tomb environment. A more recent theory suggests that neutron emissions from a powerful earthquake could have reacted with nitrogen in the linen fibers to create the image. This hypothesis is based on the idea that Jerusalem experienced an earthquake around the time of Jesus' death, which could have released neutron radiation. One of the more interesting theories suggests that the likeness of the man in the shroud was actually the Grand Master of the Knights Templar. While this is only speculation, the timeline and the area the shroud is purported to come from certainly add to the plausibility of this idea. The multitude of theories surrounding the Shroud of Turin reflects the artifact's complexity and the deep fascination it holds for people across various fields of study. Whether viewed through the lens of faith, history, art, or science, the shroud remains a compelling mystery, embodying the human quest for understanding and meaning. Despite extensive research and analysis, no single theory has definitively explained the shroud's origins or the nature of its images, leaving the debate open and continuing to inspire investigation and reflection. The Shroud of Turin holds immense religious significance. For believers, it is a direct link to Jesus of Nazareth, providing physical evidence of his existence, crucifixion, and, by implication, resurrection. The Catholic Church, while not officially declaring the shroud to be genuine, treats it with great reverence. Popes have venerated the shroud, and it has been the focus of pilgrimages and religious ceremonies, underscoring its importance as a devotional object. The shroud also occupies a significant place in popular culture, inspiring books, documentaries, and debates. Its mystery and the challenges associated with unraveling its secrets have only added to its allure, making it a symbol of the interplay between faith and science, history and belief, fact and faith. In the 21st century, the Shroud of Turin continues to be a subject of intense study and speculation. Advances in technology have opened new avenues for research, allowing scientists to examine the cloth at a molecular level. Studies focusing on pollen grains, textile analysis, and digital image enhancement have provided insights into the shroud's age, the geographical origins of the linen, and the methods that might have been used to create the image. Despite these advances, the Shroud of Turin remains one of the most compelling and controversial religious artifacts in the world. Its blend of history, mystery, science, and faith continues to provoke debate, draw curiosity, and inspire reverence. Whether it is viewed as a genuine relic of Jesus Christ or a fascinating medieval artifact, the shroud remains one of the most mysterious artifacts in history. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new content when it drops. And if you would like to support the channel, consider picking up a copy of Ernest Dempsey's latest archaeological thriller, The Inventor's Tomb, through the link in the description. Thank you for watching.